Hello, everyone. I am not in Chicago. I am in Portland, Oregon, and we're going to be here for the next few days. I am on a trip with Bailey Nurseries, which I went on a trip last year with them in Minnesota, and that's where their home base is. But this year, they invited a group of us out to Portland, and we're going to go in Portland, around Portland, see a bunch of their different growing fields. Last year I did run through a field of hydrangeas, so I'm hoping to get to run through a field of either hydrangeas or some other beautiful flower this time. But I'm really excited. So today is day one. We did have a little get-together dinner last night. I think I'd already met everyone except 3 people, met them. Everyone in the gardening community is really just so nice and so fun and so happy. So I am really glad to meet some new people and then see some people that I haven't seen for almost a year. I'm really excited to see a bunch of behind the scenes. I feel like that's always a question I have whenever I go to a botanic garden or a nursery or any place where plants are involved. I'm like, how do you manage and organize all of this? Like, how does it happen start to finish? So I'm excited to see some of that today. So let's go ahead and head out.
So Bailey has been on the West Coast for like 45 years. This part of the business used to be a company called Carlton Plants it's actually older than Bailey Nurseries, but they filed bankruptcy in the 80s. And my great-grandpa had retired from Bailey, and my grandpa and his brother were running the business. They had just bought a nursery, Sherman Nursery in Iowa. And so when my great-grandpa said, you should buy this Carlton, it'll give us some more land in Oregon, they said, nope, we don't want to take anything else on. And he said, well, I'm going to buy it. So in his 80s, he bought Carlton Plants and turned it in 1 year into a profitable business. And then my mom's cousin, who worked for my great-grandpa at the time, bought the business from his estate after he passed away and ran it until about 7 years ago when we bought the business back. And so it's pretty much all bare root, including tissue culture and prop. So it really helped balance our portfolio because we started getting a little heavier in container production. And so now it got us a little bit closer to balance between liner products and finished plants. So this used to be Carlton Plants. Now, as of 7 years ago, it's all part of Bailey Nurseries.
Your first start of the day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the TC Lab. Hope you guys are all doing good so far. Yeah. Not too jet lagged, some of you, I'm sure. Well, I'm going to give you guys kind of a brief background and history of the lab, what we do here, and then we're going to have you guys come in and you'll all get to do different parts of the lab. We'll break you into 4 groups, and we're going to have some of you doing initiation, making media, transferring plant materials, and then getting a tour of the lab. So we got to do a lot of hands-on TC work. So TC 101 today for everybody. I don't know if many of you have experience in tissue culture, but okay, I'll kind of give you guys a kind of just a quick lesson as we go. But the lab itself is 15 years old. We started about 15 years ago. We do 1.3 million plants in the lab a year. Our busy season is kind of the off season from the rest of the company because our busy season is the winter. Because in a TC lab, the plants don't know that it's winter. They grow year round. And so we're producing all the plants over the fall and winter to ship out into the spring to the greenhouses to be acclimated. And so this is actually our slower time right now in the summer. They're working under a laminar flow hood. So it's a giant HEPA filter back here. And it's blowing air out towards us all the time. So it's blowing clean air over their workstation surface the entire time. And their tools are sterilized, and the puppy sterilizer and the paper towel was sterilized in the autoclaves. So what they're doing, you can see this is a blackberry. And we had put 35 pieces in here and let it grow for 8 weeks. And now she's cutting it, and from that she's going to get 70. So she'll double from that, double, sometimes triple. So they look like this 8 weeks ago.
Yeah. Is how we multiply, how we do stage 2 and 3. Normally, we multiply from this to this. We do this every 6 or 8 weeks. We pull a plant, clean. some leaves. We select the best pieces. When we are rooting, we select the best pieces. And
So, welcome to Bailey Nursery Gate Propagation. My name is Jeff Stoven, and I'll introduce the crew here a little bit, and then we're going to go through a couple of activities specific to this site. We look at when things come into the nursery, we will absolutely evaluate those and see what makes most sense. How it's best propagated, we'll look at economics, we'll look at timing, look at quality, we'll look at labor. We'll look at all of those different ways and say, how should we propagate this? Should it be grafted? Can we sow seeds? Are we able to take a cutting? Should it go through the TC lab? All of those have to be decided.
Some clonal propagation, but most of it is seedling production. Am I supposed to talk now?
Yeah. We want to talk about ginkgo.
Ginkgo from seed. So one of our big crops here is ginkgo. I don't know if you know ginkgos. Sometimes we call them stinkos because there are male and female trees. And the female trees, yes, they are horrible. Jeff collected seed one year and took one of the company vans with carpet, and the seed leaked into the carpet. Just be glad you weren't on that tour then. But as you can see here, this is a house full of ginkgo seedlings because they are male and female trees, and the females produce the seed that just smells awful. Most people want a male selection.
What does it smell like?
Vomit. Doggy. Yeah.
Dog
Vomit.
socks,
Dog. Yeah.
sweat,
It's
gym
horrible.
socks.
But yeah, this is a house of ginkgo understock. And then when we get down to the barn, Minya will show you how he grafts the ginkgos. We have the male selections that people want, and we will use this seedling next winter to graft the male onto and grow it up in the fields.
Very cool.
Yes. You're gonna learn how to graft. I wish I could say we would let you graft, but I don't feel like taking anybody to the clinic today. This is the clone that we want to put onto this apple rootstock. Normally we do not graft at this time of year. Normally this is done in winter when the rootstock is dormant and the scion is dormant, but just for demonstration purposes, he'll mock one up for you, or a few. Here at Bailey's, at this site, we use 3 different types of grafts. We've got a whip and tongue graft, which is probably, I think I wrote it down, 90% of what we grow. Yeah, 90% of our grafted plants are done with the whip and tongue method. So you can see he makes the slice, and then he puts a little tongue right there. And he does the same thing to the scion. They're exactly the same, and then they slip together. You want to match the scion to the rootstock. You don't want the rootstock to be, really skinny and the top to be really fat, or vice versa. You want to try to match them up.
That was easy.
And then he ties them. What apple he got from the field. He
But
just
it's
went
two
out.
different apples
Yep,
put
yep.
together.
Yep.
But what do they make at the end?
So let's say this is Honeycrisp apple. This tree in the end will be a Honeycrisp apple.
Because what's grafted on top becomes what.
Yes.
But I'm trying to understand how that works with the roots.
So
To be stronger.
Yep. So you can't produce Honeycrisp. This is the most economical method to produce Honeycrisp apple.
And so in production, we have well over 1,500 acres. Some of it we're farming now, but in production, 400 to 500 every year. We rent out to various farmers, just nearby neighbors, to help with the cover cropping. We are very grateful that you showed up to visit us, and we're going to go through a lot of material in 1 hour, so bear with us. Again, if there's stuff that you're hankering that have to know right now, go ahead and ask. I haven't learned the patience thing either, but we'll just work with us. We try and have at least 2 years to 3 years of cover cropping because you'll see after we dig some trees, we mess the ground up. Like it's a brutal process during the harvest time. So we want to take that time in between 2 to 3 years to rebuild that tilth, rebuild the nutrient value, and we do that through various stages of cover cropping. So this is what just came back from propagation, and we'll go over a little bit of the details of growing, but we won't get too crazy about it. But anyways, we ask that they continually pop these back so that we can get nodal growth down below. So all those little liners there to the northwest, don't quote me on that. This is 1 year old. Yeah, I know. This is all 1 year older than what we receive at prop. And so if you can follow me around here, a little show and tell with how we do some of our plants. So these transplanters that we have, it's a single pass. We get the liner, they put it inside these little clasps, forward driven, and then it transplanted. All at the same time, because we've got drip irrigation hose reels that are being injected into the ground at about 6 to 8 inches. And so as they're planting and putting that stuff in the ground, it's running the drip tape at the head and all in one single pass. Whereas sometimes you have to go and do some of these things separately, however your irrigation's set up. But again, this puppy's set up, we can do anywhere from 45 to 50,000 liners on in a given day with a crew of about 10. So 4, it's more like 12, 4, and a couple carriers, you know. So on a given year, we're planting anywhere from I don't know, how many we plant, like 500,000?
More than that here.
No, but in spring.
Oh, yeah, about.
We have split plantings. We got spring and fall, so we like to break up the workload. We'll talk more about that in the storage tomorrow, the whys and stuff like that, but we're putting in a lot of plants. We just coming out of I learned this fact the other day. We produce enough trees to provide enough oxygen for the entire state of Oregon, so, wow. You know, no big deal. They'll come out next spring, and then they'll start popping these things, and the hope is to get new growth right here. Come out later.
There's one behind you for
I said attrition's built into everything. We got 7% of play. That's like 0.00015. So we're good. Don't worry.
Money right.
We will grow this tree up from these new buds from an own root. So that is what we would consider own root. So again, I'm just kind of giving you a reference for timelines. So that, you know, that it goes from that stage over there that we just left
1 year
to this stage. This is 2 year, and this is 3 year. Wow. So this is what we would consider is going to be our final product. Come this winter. We're gonna harvest these trees. Well, you're gonna harvest some trees here in a little bit.
Are we?
Yeah, you're gonna be real sad.
We are at Bailey's day 2. We are continuing on with all the tissue culture and propagation. So we basically did from the beginning yesterday, and now we're continuing on with that process to see how all the little baby seedlings get planted and then end up at the nursery. This is really cool.
You want to plant about 1 inch deep because then we process the plants, and when we process the plants, we cut about this much of the flat. So if you plant the too deep, you're gonna cut all of this off, okay. And you don't want to cut that.
Okay, that's good. You're doing great. I mean, you don't even think about this when you're just buying.
I know.
Plants, you know, it's like somebody is planting this. It just gives it a whole different perspective.
Worked on yesterday in Dayton. It's taking those little stage 2 TCs and it is planting it with an AI program. I'll run it and you can kind of watch, you can take pictures, I'll open the window, We can go all the way around. You can go where Tracy is to see it in action. So you want your video on because it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll turn it down so you can kind of see how it starts, and then we will turn it up later. Okay. So I'll start it, and then we'll kind of explain the process as it's doing it. But I think you want to watch it for a little bit. So what is it doing? It's picking out through AI. There's high definition cameras above, and it's reading that imagery. And we've created an AI model that looks for those specific details or specifics within that plant. It's going to go down on that stem, take it where we've asked to take it, and plant it at the depth we've asked it to be planted. So that little square that little cell that it's going into, we've asked it to plant it in the center of the cell at a certain amount of depth. And it's going to go fast. So it's saying what millimeters those are. It's saying where it wants to grab it. That halo around it is saying it's a good plant. Once it gets into frame, into view, it puts a little red, and that's where it's going to pick it.
Wow.
So what we're doing is we're acclimatizing tissue culture. We are trying to mimic what the lab has. You saw yesterday what Angela had. What did it have? It was warm, right?
Right.
And well lit. Those are the two components to continue that plant propagation. We're taking out all of the elements of outside. It's warm today, it's sunny, then it's cloudy, then it's cool, then it's hot. All of that has been reduced by this grow chamber.
We are outside now learning about how they acclimated the plants in that storage area. And then, I don't know if you guys don't follow this guy Hamilton House Designs on Instagram. She is fantastic, but she is helping cut some of the plants now. So they cut them down to make them more bushy, more uniform. You know, before I started being able to see behind the scenes, I never really thought about everything that went into the plants that I'm getting at the nursery. So to realize how much work it takes, how many years, how many people touch the plant, it really is incredible to see everything that goes into this process. So that's where they just did one sweep all the way down and just finished. So they will do that across all of these plants. We are in one of the shrub sections now, and this is a hydrangea I first saw last year at the event, but it is Eclipse. It's Hydrangea macrophylla. It has basically looks like black, super dark leaves, pink flowers. When I was first seeing this, I love it as a plant, but I wasn't sure on my rooftop decks where I would put it. But now that the garage deck has a lot of black accents, I think this might be cool to add to it. However, it is zone 5. I might kill it over winter, and it does get 3 to 5 feet wide. So not exactly a compact plant for my container garden, but I don't know. We'll see if I end up planting any of these or not. Aren't they just so pretty? Hello. So we are now at the offices here, the Bailey Nursery offices, and we're having a garden challenge. They broke us up into 9 groups. I am part of the container group with Erin from The Impatient Gardener. I know, shocking I was put on containers, but I think we're doing a really good job, and I'm excited with how it's coming together. It is weird just planting with only perennials, but I think we're making it work. So these are our containers that Erin and I designed together. All of these are spare plants. We went with a chartreuse and pink theme, and I think it turned out really nicely. Now, would I plant perennials this close together in containers? Probably not, but when you are designing without annuals, it is a little bit difficult. But this gardenia smells absolutely amazing. Sweet tea gardenia, only down to zone 7, so can't live with me, but I can smell it from here, and I'm at least 2 feet away from it. Something else that we also learned that was a bit difficult with just perennials is finding different textures. A lot of the textures and a lot of the colors were similar, so we had to work with what we had, but I really like how this grass pairs together with the roses that we have in here, even though they are very similar color. The texture difference makes them stand out. So I love these, but honestly, these are probably my favorite just because they have these roses in them. So we do have in here some cornflower as well that hasn't bloomed yet. So we have what would be pink, chartreuse, pink, and these are, what are these called? Little Mischief Shrub Rose. They are Zone 4 to 9. Ooh, I could probably get away with that. Let's see. Full sun, definitely have that. Height 2 to 3. Oh, 2 to 3 and 2 to 4 feet. Okay. I think I can do these. And I think I need them. I mean, honestly, so we were trying to get mixtures of plants together, but I would put one of those in a vertical container and just have it trailing down. And I think that would be so pretty. So I'm in love with those roses so much. I'm actually going to snap a picture, so don't forget to look those up. But Little Mischief. And then the other container we planted is over here, where we continued the chartreuse and pink. Now this one, we use the Summer Crush hydrangeas and a dogwood because it ties in the pink and the lime green together. Again, would we plant a container this dense with perennials? Normally, probably not. But honestly, if I did this at my house, I would just pull these out like in year 2 or 3 when they got too big for the containers, and then have 4 different containers of hydrangeas. So I really like how this turned out as well.
You got Twist and Shout. You got Bloomstruck.
Oh my
gosh.
Oh my, yeah.
And then, yeah, we got the original right here.
Oh, hello everyone. We're at the final stop of the Bailey Nursery event, and I think they saved the best for last. So we went to their Pinnacle Hydrangea Fields last August, I think it was, or July. Maybe it was September. But now we are seeing all of their other hydrangea fields. These are so beautiful. I will turn the camera around so it's less of my face and more of the hydrangeas. So we are actually on an island separated by 2 rivers, and they said their pH is 5.5, which is why we just have a sea of beautiful blue hydrangeas and something we don't have in the Midwest, mountains, which is the perfect backdrop for this field. So they have hydrangeas, they have roses, which I will hopefully get to in the allotted time that we have here. Now, I can't just make my whole deck a bunch of hydrangeas shoved together, but this really makes me want to.
Photos of you in the fields.
I'm just standing in the middle of one of the rows of hydrangeas. We are also excited to be here. We could probably just move in here and be happy. So these are the hydrangea fields. I'm gonna go read some name tags, but again, in my garden, these would be pink, not purple or blue. And then those are the rose fields. All right, I'm looking for any name identifiers that are not just numbers. I know some of these are Summer Crush. I don't know what this section is though, because again, I'm used to seeing it more pink, but I feel like this one is. Oh, I see a tag. Yep, here we go. Summer Crush. Oh, I wish I could grow these, but I think they get too big for my garden. I do plan on getting some of their compact panicle hydrangeas though. This is Twist and Shout. So this one has lace caps. I am falling more in love with this form of flower. I don't know what it is because I've always expected myself to love the fuller, bigger blooms, but these just look absolutely beautiful and so delicate.
I got overexcited. I just want a couple. I mean, no, I'm only doing it because I want this like weird transition.
We are looking at the rose field now, which is full of my favorite color, pink, also peach, red. I really like this pink with yellow. So this one is the Campfire Pink. I can't tell if there's more words after it because it goes into the dirt, but I love how when they first open, there's more yellow, and then when they fully open, they're all pink. I just think that would look so beautiful in my garden. If I could keep a rose alive. This is also probably too big for me. I also love this color. So this one here is Rosa Easy Elegance Sweet Fragrance. I really love that peachy pink color. So of course, let's zoom in on some of these. This one's a little bit of an older bloom. We have some that are kind of like at their peak. Oh, that's so pretty. And then ones that have just recently opened up. Oh, I love this. And that it's a deeper orange at first and then fades to a lighter pink afterwards. All right, well, unfortunately, I'm supposed to go eat now, so I should probably do that. I don't know how much time we have after lunch to run through the fields at all, but this has just been incredible. It is, I would say, it's more intriguing to see how the plants are made from start to finish and how they got here. But if you're just looking for something pretty, this is where you want to go. Well, I'm feeling a little less glamorous now, back in my sweatshirt and glasses in the hotel and out of the hydrangea fields, but that was so much fun. I am always so grateful to be invited on these trips, and a really cool moment, at least for me, was that, so when I first started following gardeners on YouTube, I would follow Garden Answer, and I followed Aaron the Impatient Gardener. And there was a moment when they paired us together for containers that I was like, is this real? I was just starting to watch her 5 or 6, no, I guess it's been 6 or 7 years now. So it really is incredible just to see how much has happened over the last few years with gardening and the experiences that I've got to have. So we are going to head home tomorrow. We don't get back till super late at night. And I think I'm not going to look at the garden until the morning. And I'm going to plan to film it and we'll see how it is. I have had someone who works at a garden center taking care of it. So I think it should be in really great shape. It's just that I left once it was starting to be 95 degrees 3 days in a row. So probably not the best time to start leaving my garden unattended. But yes, really great trip. There are definitely a lot of plants that I fell in love with. Unfortunately, I do have restrictions in terms of size and things I can fit, but I definitely want to get the Little Mischief Rose, and then I need to look at some of their dwarf panicle hydrangeas. I think the roses would look really pretty. Well, I think the roses would look pretty everywhere, but I think I would probably put them on the garage deck and maybe flowing down in the patio. So I don't know. I'm excited to play around. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video when hopefully my garden's live. Bye.